How's it going? Today is Saturday, which means yet again it is Parkrun Day, and today we're celebrating a special 10th anniversary at Chippenham Parkrun. So Chippenham Parkrun is another UK parkrun, and it is located to the east of Bristol, and that will be my 24th parkrun too. So we're almost at that milestone of 25. The parkrun is located at Monkton Park and it is on a wide variety of terrain. So you've got a bit of a gravelly section, you've got a trail section, and you also have tarmac paths. So I'm not too sure what shoes to recommend, to be honest, because on the day it was very dry, the trail section, so therefore road shoes would be acceptable, whereas in the wet I can see it getting a little bit muddier potentially, so depending on the weather as to whether you need road or trail shoes. If it's wet, trail shoes. If it's dry like it was on the day that we went, then road shoes. But it had been raining quite a lot beforehand, but the ground was still really dry, so I definitely would say road shoes for most occasions. With it being their 10th anniversary as well, it was great to hear about all of the different facts, from the number of people who have volunteered to the number of people that have actually ran Chippenham Parkrun over the 10 years. I can't remember the exact numbers, but they were huge. And with it being them celebrating their 10th anniversary as well, there was lots of cake, biscuits and things to eat straight after the run too, and all of the volunteers were in a great mood to celebrate such a special day. I wouldn't class the course as being a busy course. I'd probably say it's in the middle of busy and quiet. At the start of the run it is quite congested, so you do need to be careful, and there's like benches and bins and things like that to watch out for, but when you watch the video later you'll see some volunteers with some high-vis vests stood in front of those, so you're not going to run into them. And also you do need to be wary of people taking over you, especially if they're on their first lap of the first section or the second lap of the first section. You'll see what I mean later on, because there's like a lot of smaller sections which you have to partake in, so you have to be careful of people taking over. A good thing to note though is that the parkrun is buggy / pram friendly, so you can bring your kid along, or also it is dog friendly too, so you can take your dog, but it has to be on a short leash. I think it has to be on a handheld leash as well, and there are also toilets nearby to the start of the run too, so you don't need to worry about that. Although the Parkrun app does say that it is a flat course, I would say it's maybe slightly hilly in my opinion, because there are a few hills on the first 2 laps which you have to do, but to be fair, after those 2 hills it is quite flat after that, so maybe slightly hilly instead. With that being said, I probably wouldn't say it is one for your PB. However, you are going to get a decent time on this course, as like I said, not too many hills, and the bends really, it's not really many bends either, there's a lot of wide going around the corners. But if you've got to this point and you're still wondering what is a park run, it is essentially a 5k run which is ran by a group of volunteers who time the event and marshal as well, and then once you get to the end you get given a token along with your own token from when you signed up, and that will give you your finish position and your time later on. Right, so let's take a look at a summary of the course then. So you're going to do 2 laps in this first field. You can see in the top left, that is where the hills are as well. That is all on tarmac. Then it's a follow through with tarmac again to the trail paths. You're going to go around this field twice, back onto tarmac, and then back to where you started, where you hit the finish line with an elevation gain of 17 meters. And now it's time to take a look at this course in a bit more detail. So you're going to start here alongside the River Avon. You're going to make your way down the tarmac path. Be wary, this is going to be the most congested point of the run. You're then going to turn left here and make your way uphill. So this is a very gradual incline, all still on tarmac paths. And you turn left again, all still going uphill until you reach the most highest point of the whole run. Then it's going to be a downhill back to basically next to where you just started. You're going to do a second lap of that, and then once you've done that second lap, instead of going back round, you're going to follow straight forwards along the River Avon. You're going to make your way all the way to this trail section now, so it turns from tarmac to trail. It's basically really hard compacted mud, to be honest. And then you're going to make your way all the way around the River Avon until you reach this little kink in the River Avon. You turn left here, and then you're going to do another crescent shape around the houses. Turn left again. You're going to do this trail section for a second time as well, and then once you've done it that second time, you're going to turn right this time, head your way back along the tarmac path for your sprint finish. You know it's coming up towards the end, and then you're going to finish right at the end near the playground and near to the parking area and where we started. So now we've had a look at a course overview, let's take a look at some incredible times which have been set over these 10 years at Chippenham Parkrun. So the record for the fastest male was set by Simon Knott with a time of 15 minutes and 19 seconds. Unbelievable time. And the fastest female was Philippa Bowden with a time of 17 minutes and 15 seconds. So 2 incredible times set by those 2. And the average number of runners is usually around 198. So it's quite a medium-sized park run. I've been to ones where are 400, ones which are only like 50. So this is sort of in the middle, and an average time of 28:56, which is a fairly quick average time. And now my stats. So we have done a total of 23 park runs so far. My best finish position was at Zielony Jar in Poland, and that was in 4th. And then my fastest time so far has been Summerdale Pavilion with a time of 22:32. Our top 5 ends with 5 archers with a time of 23:25. So that is the one to beat if you want to get it on that leaderboard. So let's hop on down to the course then. As you can see, I've made a few improvements to the videos, hopefully. So in that bottom left-hand corner, you can see whereabouts we are on the course. The red dot is going to be showing us where we are. And then in the bottom right-hand side, we've got the elevation up there at the top. Then in the middle, we've got the number of kilometers that we've done so far. And at the bottom is my pace that I'm currently running at. Obviously stuff will fluctuate slightly as the GPS tries to work out where everything is, but you can see it's very congested at the beginning as well. There were lots of people, 321 runners turned up. Now bear in mind the average was 198. It was very, very congested to begin with, but like I said, there are lots of volunteers around to make sure that people aren't trying to going to trip over any other obstacles, which you'll see in just a second. It's always funny listening to all of the dogs barking as well at this point when there's loads of dogs. They're all barking at each other. You can hear them all in the background. So the run director's about to set us off, and we are moving in 3, 2, 1. We are off, and Chippenham Parkrun 10th anniversary run begins. And as you can see, there's a grass section which we're on and tarmac on that right hand side. We try and keep to the tarmac mainly after this start section, but as it opens up and things like that, then after that it's going to be a free for all. You can move onto the tarmac and you're not going to be tripping over each other. So here we go. You can see lots of people there in front of us. You'll see in a second the volunteer holding a vest out there in front of the bench. So that's what I was on about previously, where you don't want to knock into the bench. This dog on the left hand side right now is trying to run it away from his owner by the looks of it. He wants to go a lot quicker, trying to drag his owner rather than him dragging the dog. He's nearly pulled him over there as well. But we are on this grass section to begin with. You can see you can run on the tarmac there on the right hand side if you have just brought your road shoes. But we're going to hop back onto the tarmac in just a second, try and not collide with the tree there. And there we go. It started off fairly quickly and we're 54 seconds in, and we've not actually had to walk or be really slow at the start, to be honest. We're coming up to 400 metres in, and we are about to turn left around that first bend and head towards the uphill. You can see some people there going up the hill, and then some people at the far end also running across past the trees up there. But we're now heading our way up this hilly section. There's someone pushing up a buggy again, really impressed, and then we're on our way to the top. So we're coming up towards that top end of the course, and you can see the elevation down there at the bottom right is creeping up towards the 50 metres mark. It is a slight struggle up this incline, but it's not too bad, to be honest. This is the worst bit, and for this to be the worst bit, it is pretty easy a park run, mostly flat, but like I said, probably call it a slightly hilly run. And then after we've got up to this top section, we're going to turn left and head our way downhill back towards where we started. And we are on our way back down. You can see the elevation thing in the bottom right hand side didn't really take into consideration how much we've just dropped there. It is dropping ever so slightly, but we are now back towards the flat and to where we started. A bit of a tight sort of bend there, sort of 2 right angles, so be careful there. There's all of the volunteers who are there on the day as well, cheering us on. And that is lap 1 complete of the first section. So we're going to do all that again, and then we're going to head off towards the trail section straight after that. So we're now coming back up towards that hill for the second time. But if you do enjoy these sort of videos, do make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well if you want to see all of the different park runs, which I do. It means a lot to me, and make sure to let me know in the comments of any questions that you have or all the park runs that you have done. Let me know. I just love answering questions and seeing what everyone puts down there. We're just overtaking the 2 tail walkers there as we head towards the highest point again, and then we're going to be heading our way back down, and that is the second lap of this section complete, and then we'll head our way along the river path towards the second section. And that is lap 2 complete. So be wary now that you're going to start to overtake some people as well if you're running at a similar time to me. So you don't want to knock them over. If you keep to the left, anyone that is just running at their normal pace, and anyone that's overtaking, keep to the right, then it should be all good, because we're going to funnel off into the next section on the right hand side as well. So we're right up against the River Avon, which is on that right hand side. We're still stuck behind the dog that was pulling his owner right at the start there, and now we're going to be heading our way towards section 2. And there we go, so we are now going to peel off to this right hand side towards the second section, all still on tarmac as you can see. So it's going quite well at the moment, and it is all flat around here too, and it will be flat for pretty much the rest of the run too. So you'll see the elevation at that bottom right hand side will be barely moving between 44 and 46 meters. Watch out Republic there as well, who are on that right hand side. We're going to peel off to the left here instead of going over the bridge. If you go over the bridge, you may be doing another extra 10 kilometers, as you won't be able to find your way back to where we are. But we are now heading our way towards the the trail section. So this bit, in a few seconds, you'll see if it gets wet and muddy. If it gets wet, then it might be very muddy and you might want to wear trail shoes. But if it stays dry like it is, then you can keep to your road shoes. So that is that long stretch done, and we are now heading towards the trail section. So as you can see, this bit's a little bit gravelly trail sort of type, hard mud. You can see on the left hand side where if it was wet, it would be very horrible to run in this bit. But as you can see, it has dried out mostly towards the centre, so you can sort of pick your spots where you're running, and this is fine for road shoes on days like this, as the ground was very hard on the day. I'm not too sure how he's pushing that pram around, to be honest, and if it was a wet muddy day, I'm sure those wheels would get stuck in the mud, but at the moment it's fine for us. And now we are heading around this lap for the first time. So we're actually halfway as well. We're at the 2.5 kilometre mark with a time of 11 minutes and 9 seconds. We're doing very well at the moment. If we can manage to keep this pace, it will be an incredible time, but we'll have to see how we get on as we go around. We're currently running at a pace of 13 kilometres per hour as well, which I'm pretty happy with, to be honest. You sometimes have to slow down, especially after in the 3rd, 4th kilometre. That's where it's the hardest kilometre, I always find. But the elevation still stays at 45, showing that it's still very flat around this section, and no overtaking as of yet. But on the second lap, you'll see that we have to begin to overtake a few more people. So we've just hit that 3 kilometre mark. We've dodged a few muddy patches there, and now we are heading our way back towards the start. So we've probably done half of that grass section lap, and as you can see, it goes back onto some tarmac over here, so you can keep back to the hard ground. You can see the houses there on that right hand side, and then we're heading our way back towards the start of the lap. We've got to do this a second time, and then we're heading our way home to the start. And there they go past. That is the first position and second position. So you can see there, that's what's going to be happening in a few minutes, where you've got people going at different paces. So just be wary of people around and try not to sort of keep too many in a row. It's quite a spacious park run, this one, so there is usually some space to overtake each other, which is quite good as well. Looks like they're planting loads of trees there on the left as well. Never really noticed that. But we're going to keep going, and hopefully we can try and keep the pace. I can see it dropping slightly every so often from 13 to 12 to 11, so we're definitely starting to flag a little bit. And here we go. You might be able to see a cute puppy there on the right. Very, very cute black spaniel, I have to say. It looks very young as well. I don't actually know how young he or she was, but she was very, very cute. I wanted to go over and give them a pet, but unfortunately still have to keep running as we make our way back around, and this is going to be the end of lap number 1. So we're going to be doing that whole section again for the second time. The people that had just finished would have turned off back to that right hand side and has gone towards the finish line, but we need to do it for that second time. So we're doing quite well. 50 minutes 31 seconds, still got 1.5 kilometers to go, but can we keep this pace up to try and beat our times on the leaderboard? And there we go, so we've just hit 4 kilometers. You can see it's getting that little bit more congested too. We're doing quite well with our time though, so currently on 18 minutes, so it's going to be very close to see whether we get onto the leaderboard or not. But we're heading around, you can see the River Avon there on the right hand side as well. Quite a stunning course, to be honest. And we are now heading our way back towards the start, because this is the furthest section now. We turn left in just a moment here, and then we are going, it's all the way back to where we first began, and that will be the finish line. Also, if you do want any information on any of the elevation or any of my pace splits and things like that, I've left a link to my Strava in the description below too, so go and check that out. And also a big shout out to Landlord1977 in the comments below, because they were the ones that mentioned to me that it was the 10th anniversary of Chippenham Parkrun this weekend. So that was a good from them to shout out. And also anyone else that does know of any park runs which have any big milestones, let me know down as well in the comments below, and I'll try and head over there to go to those. But now it is the final stretch back to the start. If you've got enough energy, you can push this final bit now, because it is all completely flat. There is no uphill gradient at all, so it's a solid 500 meters, I'd say, towards the end. It does say 4.6 kilometers there at the bottom right, but I think this one's showed up as 5.2 because the GPS isn't always correct, but they are all measured with a measuring wheel, so they are pretty accurate, to be honest. But we are heading our way for that final sprint. There's River Avon there on that left hand side, a few people overtaking me too. Maybe I didn't quite pace it as well as I could have, but it's fine. We're still getting a good time, and can we get onto that leaderboard? That is the question. So we are back to that first field, but this time running in the opposite direction as we head our way towards the finish line. The time to beat to get onto the leaderboard is 23:25. So it is going to be a very close one by the looks of it. We're trying to sprint as quickly as we can as we get closer to the finish, being overtaken there by someone else who's gone around that right hand side. A good effort there from them. You can see the finish line there in the distance. Just got to remember that on the day there was cake as well, lots of cake at the finish, so that was pushing me on as well. So the sooner I get to the end, the sooner I get that cake too. It is all completely flat, trying to push our way forwards. We're up to 14 kilometers per hour now, potentially moving towards the 15 as well. Here we go, final push. It's going to be a close one. 23:15 right now. It's 23:25 to beat. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. No, not quite. And we get a time of 23 minutes and 27 seconds, finishing there in a position of 69th. It was annoying. I wish I'd known what my time was a little bit earlier, and then maybe I could have pushed just that little bit harder. But as you can see in front, the scanners are actually in that little playground area, sort of gravelled off section. And then there was some cake as well in front of us too, which was perfect. And that is Chippenham Parkrun complete. And if you've not done a C already, it's a great one to tick off the C on the alphabeteer challenge. And also a huge happy 10th anniversary again for the Parkrun, and a massive thank you to all of the volunteers who have been volunteering all of the time throughout these 10 years. It's been amazing. By the looks of it, it's ran really well. As you can also see, it is a fairly scenic route with lots of green grassy areas, a playground as well to take any children, and it was also nice to have the slight little bit of hill at the start just to give it that variation, and to run alongside the River Avon was stunning too. So with all that taken into account, I would say it is just off the potential of being a PB course, only because of those slight hills. But we'll go through the pinch points now where we found ourselves slowing down a little bit. It was congested at the start, maybe that could slow you down a bit, but for us it wasn't too bad. Number 2 was the slightly hilly hill in those first 2 laps, which you have to do, so there is a slight bit of elevation there, whereas in some of the courses it can be flat for the whole run. Then number 3, which wasn't actually affecting us on the day, but it would affect us if it was a lot wetter, would be the grass section. It probably would be very muddy on a wet day, so I definitely recommend to bring trail shoes then, but that will definitely slow you down as well. But apart from that, there wasn't really any really sharp bends. It was all lots of sort of long curved bends, no U-turns to do either, which was good. and there's not many really that don't really have any U-turns. And then obviously something which could have slowed you down if you did eat too much of it at the start of the run, it would have been all the cake. But the cake I think was there just to celebrate the 10th anniversary. I don't think it'll be there every week, but someone will have to let me know in the comments if that is a regular thing. And as usual, at the end of these parkrun videos we go through a few tips and tricks for anyone that is wishing to attend. So we'll start off with the public transport on how to get there. So you can get there by train, and Chippenham station's actually really close, located here. And then all of the buses also stop outside of Chippenham Station too. So if you're getting the bus from lots of places, it'll stop there, which is good as well. So it's probably one of the best ones I've been to in terms of transport links via public transport. But if unfortunately you can't do that, you can also take the car. There is the Sadler's Mead multi-storey car park, which is literally about a 5-minute, well less than that, probably 2-minute walk from the start, just down a small hill, which you do have to do at the end actually. Once you finish the run, you have to climb back up the hill to get to that car park, and it's about between £1 and £2 depending on how long you are staying there for, and you can pay at the station there just using your card or cash. And then definitely the most important bit is at the end, where you go for your post parkrun coffee. I suppose on the day we didn't actually need to do that as they had cake and drinks at the end anyway, but if you do want to grab a post parkrun coffee on most of the normal days, there is the Revo Lounge, which is located just here and it's not very far from the start at all. And now back to my GoPro stats. So we were so close to getting onto the leaderboard. Unfortunately, we missed out by 2 seconds. So the only thing changing this week is my number of park runs, which has gone up to 24. 5 archers. You better watch out. We're getting very close to your time. And that is it. Chippenham Park Run complete. If you do have any tips or tricks and you are local to the park run, do make sure to add all of yours as well to the comment section below. But if you are finishing this video and thinking, oh, I'd love to go and watch another one of these parkrun videos, we had last week's, which was in Worcester, and that was a lot more challenging than this one with a very boggy and wet grassy section. Or we have the rest of the parkruns which I've done in the worldwide parkrun playlist. Next week we've got quite a lot on, but we are going to try and get to Pomfrey Hill Parkrun again to try and beat my time of 24 minutes and 8 seconds, which I got last time, and try and get sub 24. So make sure to check out that one next week. I hope you all enjoyed. Hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.